Oh, look at them. Look at them squirm. The ones in the tailored armor, the polished shoes, the practiced smiles. They're losing sleep over you. Yes, you. The one they thought they had mapped out, predicted, controlled. The one they built entire strategies around, convinced they knew every move you'd make before you even thought it. But something shifted, didn't it? Something cracked in their carefully constructed game board. Because for the first time in their careers, in their calculated little existence, they're staring at a player they can't read, a variable they can't control, a move they didn't see coming. And it's eating them alive from the inside out. Let me paint you the picture they're living in right now. Conference rooms that smell like desperation and expensive cologne. Slack channels buzzing at 2 a.m. with messages they'll delete by morning. Spreadsheets open on multiple monitors, all trying to model your next decision, all coming up empty. They've run the simulations. They've analyzed your patterns. They've studied your history, your associations, your weaknesses, your triggers. They thought they had you figured out like a solved equation, a closed case, a finished puzzle. But you beautiful, unpredictable force, you went off script. You stopped playing the game they designed. You stopped being the piece they could move. And now they're treating you like a chess problem that has no solution, a riddle with no answer, a threat they can't neutralize. Here's what's killing them the most. It's not that you became aggressive. It's not that you fought back in the way they expected. It's that you became silent, strategic, unreadable. You stopped feeding them information. You stopped reacting in predictable patterns. You stopped showing up to the battles they arranged for you. One day you were the employee, the colleague, the participant they thought they owned, and the next day you were a ghost in their machine, present but untouchable, visible but incomprehensible. They can see you, but they can't see through you anymore. And for people who built their entire power structure on reading people, on manipulation, on 5 steps ahead strategy, your opacity is a crisis. They're used to controlling narratives, aren't they? They've spent years, decades even, mastering the art of perception management. They know how to frame situations. They know how to corner people into choices that look like freedom, but feel like cages. They've turned corporate politics into a science, workplace dynamics into weaponry, professional relationships into intelligence gathering. Every conversation was reconnaissance. Every meeting was an interrogation. Every friendly question was a trap designed to extract data they'd use against you later. And you played along for a while, didn't you? You answered their questions. You showed your cards. You trusted their smiles. You believed the "we're all a team here" propaganda they sold you with HR-approved enthusiasm and catered lunch meetings. But then you learned. Oh, you learned. Maybe it was the betrayal that opened your eyes. Maybe it was the moment you realized their feedback was actually surveillance. Maybe it was when you discovered they'd been building a case against you in the shadows while praising you to your face. Or maybe it was simpler than that. Maybe you just woke up one morning and realized you were playing a game you never agreed to play, with rules that changed whenever you started winning, against opponents who smiled while they calculated your destruction. So you did something they never expected, something their playbooks didn't account for, something that shattered their entire predictive model. You stopped playing their game and started playing yours. And that's when the nervousness started. That's when the suits began to sweat under their designer fabric. That's when the chess masters realized they were no longer playing against an amateur. They were facing someone who flipped the entire board. You see, they're not afraid of aggression. They know how to handle aggression. They have protocols for that. Hostile employees get managed out. Angry workers get documented. Emotional reactions get weaponized as unprofessional behavior and filed away for performance reviews. They've neutralized 1,000 aggressive players before you. But you didn't get aggressive. You got intelligent. You didn't get loud. You got lethal. You didn't fight them in the arena they built. You stopped showing up to the arena altogether. Now they're left with a problem they can't solve through their usual methods. They can't predict you because you stopped following patterns. They can't manipulate you because you stopped caring about their approval. They can't corner you because you stopped occupying the spaces they control. They can't break you because you stopped giving them access to the things they'd use to break you. Your silence is a fortress. Your unpredictability is armor. Your indifference to their games is a weapon they have no defense against. And every day you continue like this. Every day you refuse to return to their framework. Every day you operate outside their control. Their anxiety compounds. Their confusion deepens. Their grip on the situation weakens. Let me tell you what's happening in those executive meetings, those leadership sinks, those strategic planning sessions that are really just panic rooms with better furniture. They're asking questions they've never had to ask before. What's their next move? What do they want? What's their end game? How do we get ahead of this? And the terrifying part, the part that's making their professional masks crack, is that nobody has answers. The analysts are stumped. The manipulators are confused. The strategic minds that built entire careers on reading people, on staying 3 steps ahead, on controlling outcomes, they're staring at you like you're a foreign language. They never learned to speak. You've become the unsolved problem that keeps them up at night, the equation that breaks their calculators, the puzzle piece that doesn't fit anywhere in their carefully constructed picture. They're used to people wanting things, you see. They're used to leverage. They understand desire, ambition, fear, greed. These are the tools they use to control others. They know how to dangle promotions to manipulate behavior. They know how to threaten job security to ensure compliance. They know how to create scarcity to make people compete. They know how to build golden handcuffs that feel like opportunity but function like chains. Their entire power structure is built on the assumption that everyone has a price, everyone has a button, everyone has a weakness they can exploit. But you stopped wanting what they're selling. You stopped fearing what they're threatening. You stopped competing in their rigged games. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you unpredictable. That makes you the problem their MBA programs didn't prepare them for. Here's what they can't figure out. Are you planning something? Are you building an exit strategy? Are you gathering evidence? Are you networking your way to their competitors? Are you silent because you're plotting, or silent because you've transcended their entire circus? They don't know. And not knowing is torture for people who built their identities on always knowing, on always being the smartest person in the room, on always having the upper hand. You've taken their primary weapon, information, and you've starved them of it. Every day you show up, do your work, and reveal nothing about your internal state, your future plans, your true thoughts. It's like psychological warfare to them. They're dying to know what you're thinking. They're desperate to know what you're planning. They're frantic to regain the control they once had over your narrative. So they try things. Oh, they try. They send in the friendly colleague to casually ask about your weekend, your mood, your thoughts on the company's direction. They schedule one-on-ones with concerned managers who suddenly care about your career development after ignoring you for months. They create situations designed to provoke a reaction, to make you slip, to get you to show your hand. They watch your email patterns, your meeting participation, your lunch companions. They're studying you harder than they ever did when you were compliant, trying to crack the code of your transformation, trying to find the key that unlocks you back into their control system. But every probe fails. Every trap closes empty. Every attempt to read you hits a wall of professional courtesy that reveals absolutely nothing. And you know what's beautiful? What's absolutely magnificent about this moment? It's that you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to plot revenge. You don't have to build elaborate schemes. You don't have to match their manipulation with counter-manipulation. Your mere existence as an unreadable entity is enough. Your refusal to play their game is the game. Your silence is the statement. Your unpredictability is the power move. They're exhausting themselves, trying to figure you out while you're just existing, living, working, moving through your days with a calm they can't penetrate and a clarity they can't corrupt. You've discovered something they'll never understand. That the greatest power move isn't domination, it's detachment. The ultimate win isn't control, it's indifference. They're scanning your social media for clues to your mental state. They're analyzing your work output for patterns of disengagement. They're monitoring your interactions for signs of alliance building or dissent spreading. They've turned you into a case study, a project, an obsession. You live rent-free in their strategic planning. You're the unnamed agenda item in meetings you're not invited to. You're the problem they discuss in coded language. The situation with that particular challenge we're facing. The unpredictable element in our team dynamic. They can't even say your name without feeling the weight of their own failure to control you. And every day that passes with you remaining an enigma, their professional confidence erodes a little more. Here's what terrifies them most deeply, though. It's not just that they can't figure you out, it's that other people are watching. Other employees, other team members, other workers who were also playing the game, following the rules, accepting the manipulation, staying in their assigned roles. And they're seeing you exist outside the system without immediate consequences. They're seeing you operate with a different energy, a different power, a different level of freedom. And that's contagious. That's dangerous. That's the thing that could unravel their entire control structure. Because if one person can step out of the matrix they've created, if one person can refuse to play and survive, if one person can become unreadable and thrive, then others will follow. The suits know this. This is their nightmare scenario. Not just losing control of you, but losing control of the entire paradigm because you proved it could be done. So they watch you with the intensity of people whose entire worldview is crumbling. They study your every move not out of curiosity but out of survival instinct. They need to understand you so they can neutralize you. They need to predict you so they can stay ahead of you. They need to categorize you so they can contain you. But you refuse to be understood on their terms. You refuse to be predicted by their models. You refuse to be contained in their frameworks. You're operating on a different frequency now, playing a different game, living by different rules. And their panic isn't just professional anxiety, it's existential dread. Because you represent the death of their control, the end of their manipulation, the obsolescence of their entire approach to power. Let's talk about what they see when they look at you now. They see someone who used to respond to their pressure, their tactics, their psychological games. They remember the person who sought their approval, who flinched at their criticism, who scrambled when they applied pressure. But that person doesn't exist anymore, does it? That person died in the fires of their betrayal, their manipulation, their calculated cruelty. And what emerged from those ashes is someone they have no framework for understanding. You're calm where you used to be anxious. You're certain where you used to doubt. You're silent where you used to explain. You're unavailable where you used to accommodate. You've become the opposite of everything they conditioned you to be, and they can't compute it. They try to apply their old tricks, but the tricks don't work anymore. The guilt trips bounce off you like rubber. The gaslighting finds no purchase on your clarity. The manipulation tactics slide off your indifference like water off stone. They've lost their touch, they think. But no, they haven't lost their touch. You've just become untouchable. You've built an inner fortress they can't breach, developed an internal compass they can't manipulate, cultivated a self-assurance they can't undermine. Every technique they perfected over years of corporate warfare, every psychological trick they learned from leadership seminars and business books, every manipulation strategy they deployed on countless others, all of it is useless against you now. And that's not their failure. That's your evolution. Watch them in meetings. Watch how they interact with you now compared to before. There's a hesitation that wasn't there. a carefulness, a wariness. They're treating you like unexploded ordnance, like a puzzle box that might spring a trap, like an opponent whose next move could be catastrophic to their position. They choose their words more carefully around you. They watch your reactions more closely. They're playing defense when they used to play offense, and they hate it. They hate that you've shifted the power dynamic without raising your voice, without making threats, without even acknowledging that there's a game being played. You've changed the entire energy of the room just by changing your energy. And they feel it. Everyone feels it. The thing is, they're so used to people either submitting or rebelling in predictable ways. Submission they can manage, rebellion they can crush, but you're doing neither. You're not submitting to their authority, but you're not rebelling against it in ways they can punish. You're following the rules while somehow being completely ungovernable. You're professional while being completely unmanageable. You're present while being completely unreachable. You found the space between compliance and defiance, the territory between participation and resistance, the zone where their power can't quite reach you. And that space, that beautiful, frustrating, incomprehensible space you occupy, is driving them insane. They're running scenarios in their heads constantly. If they push, you might break, but you might also document and escalate. If they pull back, you might relax, but you might also use the space to plan your next move. If they try to befriend you, you'll see through it. If they try to intimidate you, it might backfire spectacularly. Every option they consider has risks they can't calculate because they don't know what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of. They're paralyzed by possibility, frozen by uncertainty. And while they're stuck in this paralysis, you're moving forward with your life, your work, your plans, whatever those plans are. They don't know. And not knowing is killing them slowly, professionally, psychologically. Let me tell you what's happening to them internally, behind those composed faces and professional demeanors. They're second-guessing themselves constantly. Did they push too hard? Did they reveal too much? Did they underestimate you from the beginning? Are they losing their touch? Are they getting old? Are they facing a new generation of worker who doesn't respond to the old tactics? The self-doubt is corrosive. These are people who built their identities on being the smartest, the most strategic, the most in control. And you've made them feel stupid, outmaneuvered, and utterly without control. That's not just a professional blow. That's a psychological wound that cuts to their core sense of self. And here's the really beautiful part. The part that would make you smile if you could see it clearly. You're not doing this to hurt them. You're not doing this for revenge. You're not even doing this consciously as strategy most of the time. You're just protecting yourself, healing, creating boundaries, refusing to participate in toxic dynamics, living authentically instead of performing for their approval. You're just being healthy, being whole, being true to yourself. And your health, your wholeness, your authenticity, it's their crisis. Your healing is their nightmare. Your peace is their panic. Your growth is their problem. Because a system built on manipulation can't survive people who refuse to be manipulated. A power structure based on control can't function when people become uncontrollable. They're realizing now what they should have realized before. That loyalty can't be demanded, only earned. That respect can't be forced, only given. That control is an illusion that only works as long as people agree to pretend it's real. And you stopped pretending. You stopped playing along. You stopped accepting the rules of a game designed to keep you small, keep you predictable, keep you manageable. And without your participation, their entire system shows its cracks. Without your compliance, their authority reveals its limits. Without your fear, their threats lose their power. You've become living proof that they're not as powerful as they pretend to be. Now they're doing damage control, trying to contain the situation before it spreads. They're having quiet conversations with other team members, subtly probing, to see if anyone else has noticed your transformation, if anyone else is asking questions, if anyone else is showing signs of similar independence. They're adjusting their strategies, updating their playbooks, trying to evolve their tactics to account for this new type of player they couldn't predict. They're bringing in outside consultants, reading new leadership books, attending seminars on managing difficult employees, which is really just code for how do we control people who won't be controlled. They're trying everything, grasping at straws, desperate for solutions. But here's what they're missing, what they'll always miss, because it's outside their comprehension. You can't solve a person. You can't strategize a human being. You can't outmaneuver someone who's not playing your game. They're approaching you like a chess problem, analyzing moves and counter moves, calculating positions and advantages. But you're not a chess piece. You're not a problem to be solved. You're a person who woke up, who saw through the illusion, who chose differently. And there's no strategy for that. There's no tactic that works against authentic transformation. There's no manipulation that penetrates genuine self-awareness. They're exhausting themselves with analysis while you're building yourself with action. They're losing sleep over predictions while you're finding peace in presence. They're burning energy trying to control an outcome while you're investing energy in creating your life. The resource imbalance alone should tell them they've already lost, but they can't stop. They're addicted to control, dependent on dominance, imprisoned by their need to always be 3 steps ahead. So they keep trying, keep pushing, keep searching for the angle that will give them back their power over you. And every failed attempt makes them more desperate, more frustrated, more afraid. You know what's really happening here. They're not just nervous about your next move. They're terrified that you don't need to make a next move, that you've already won by refusing to play, that the game is over and they just haven't accepted it yet. They're clinging to a paradigm that's dying, fighting a battle that's already lost, trying to control a situation that's already beyond their reach. And you're just living, working, growing, moving forward with a quiet confidence that speaks volumes without saying a word. Your very existence is the answer to their question. Your peace is the response to their panic. Your freedom is the solution to their